Hey, so I'm back with a second video. I wasn't planning to make this one yet, but in light of a new way to do dragon punches, I couldn't help myself. So this is a response video to Brian F., who has dropped an SOCD SRK video. If you haven't checked it out, there's a link below. His stuff is really great. He's got a pretty solid understanding of hitboxes, SOCDs. Definitely worth the watch. And in this video, he's showing this, which is a really interesting way to do a dragon punch. I wasn't aware of it, and I thought that was really cool. And he goes over two other ways to do dragon punches, and this is a huge improvement. And if I didn't know of a fourth way, I would be saying that this is the way to do it. But it seems that the community isn't aware of a different SOCD input, which is the way I've been doing it since Vanilla Marvel. I came out with its tech video on it. And I'm going to show you, I went over this in the pad video, but we're going to make this exclusive for Hitbox this time. So it looks like this. And yeah, you can see my hands are doing something you normally don't see, and that's with C.Viper. That's a harder version of SRKs. It's consistent, it's fast, and we'll get to how to do it. But first, let's cover the basics of what Brian F. went over and what's so cool about this new input, but also the flaw of it. So your normal way of doing a dragon punch is usually you get forward, you let go, down, forward. This is most people with a hitbox. It's okay, it's serviceable. I never do this. There's only one game I do it for, and that's Tekken, and we're going to go over why. But it's okay. Eventually you'll abandon this one. There's a few issues with it. And he goes over from down back, and if someone jumps in on you, you're going to snap. And if you're not careful, it's really, I'm trying to mess up, this will happen. You'll accidentally buffer into a super, or you get a jab, or you just get good old Hadouken. And you don't want those, you want your Dragon Punch. So his new version is an improvement. Just by the speed of that just comes flying out. It's great. So let's go into the other one he covers, which is the SOCD SRK. And this is similar to the one I'm going to do. However, there's a problem that often drives people away from taking this one further, which fixes the problem. So the SOCD SRK, he holds forward, he then hits down back, and he lifts up, and now you get a down forward. And if you have ever tried this, it is not comfortable. I'm a musician, I play guitar, this is my fretting hand, and I hate this. This doesn't feel great. I feel more consistent doing this, and the speed's about the same. Don't do it. Especially on the player one side. Player two side, it's a little easier because you have your index to lift. Your ring finger is going to hate this. So keep that in mind. And we're going to go on to Brian F. So what Brian F. is doing is he's using Street Fighter 6 leniencies. And in Street Fighter 6, we do not have to do a perfect forward, down, down, forward. We can do forward, down, forward, forward. And we get a walking SRK, and that's really cool. It's not going to solve our down back problem. It's not going to solve our neutral footsies. But, you know, if I'm just walking at you like Terminator and I snap it, cool. He's taking a step further by introducing forward, down, forward, up, forward. And sure enough in this game, if you do it correctly, you will get that. But as you saw, I just messed up twice, and that's kind of what we're going to go over as the flaw. So this technique is better by the other two because of what you're doing with your hands. You're dropping your hands. You're not lifting. So in the first technique, you press, unpress, press, press. That creates a gap. It also creates that really ugly stutter that you don't want. You don't want that little giveaway, that little tick. You get this. There's no stutter. It just snaps out. The other one is down, down, up. And it's those releases that are a problem. So in his version, it's down, down, down. And it's basically a two-handed plink. Plink, plink. And you can potentially do a perfect 3-frame SRK. You can get these really tight. But you can see me not getting 1s and 2s. You're getting 3s and 4s mostly. You can get it tighter if you want, but I wouldn't recommend that because if you do this too quick, there's a problem. And in the first two, your biggest issue is you're going to accidentally get the Hadouken, the super, or a jab. In this one, if you screw up, if you hit down forward or down and up at the same time, you're going to miss an input and you're going to do that. And in Street Fighter 6, that is death. You can't do anything until you hit the ground. You're getting full comboed and you're not where you want to be. So the way you prevent this is you slow it down a little bit. You plink these and then you hit that. So there's kind of a gallop and you kind of hear it in the rhythm. But you can also see me make mistakes, and those mistakes are lethal. So I have to go slower and give up some of that efficiency. So let's go over the optimal way, the way that's going on in that video. And it looks like this. It just comes right out. It's a single hand drop, similar to how it's a two-hand drop, where that is the motion. And you'll notice something's weird is going on with my ring finger. It's not lifting. You're sliding. And the other way I do this is you will notice my wrist. This helps pull it. So if I'm spamming, I might angle my wrist to help the drag. And yeah, it's the same SOCD SRK input. So it's forward, down forward, slide, or that, either one, and it's spammable. If I want to come at you, I'm buffering SRKs, and as long as I end in a down forward attack, I can just have this buffer. It's good to go. You can see that is very deliberate. How fast is it though? Well, it's 3 frames. It's perfect. This is a perfect SRK. Now, I don't always get that 3 frame, but I average 3 to 5 frames. Yeah, you'll see sometimes I get the down forward in there. There's a 4 frame. Yeah, there's a 3 frame. It's really, really fast. So what else can you do with this? Well, because it's spammable, you can also option select with it. And that option select is a different way to do double Hadouken supers. And all I did was buffer it the same exact way, but rather than ending down forward and hitting attack, I just let my hand slip a little. So I can buffer it, down forward, buffer it, slip. And you can do a really awful game of chicken with the opponent where you're about this distance and say they're Guile, and you don't know if they're going to jump or if they're going to throw Sonic Boom. And you just do this. If you see the Sonic Boom, you do this. If you see them being weird and he jumps, you just snap him out of the sky. And yeah, that's a terrifying thing of I have 2 invincible moves as I approach you. And if I mess up, the worst thing I'm going to get is this. This is the worst thing that can happen with me doing a miss input. So it's really solid, and I do highly recommend you use this for everything. This works in every game. This is a true Dragon Punch motion. The only game it doesn't work for is Tekken. And Brian F's video may give me some ideas on how to fix that. So the problem in Tekken is that you need a neutral before you hit that down. So you need all the inputs, forward, neutral, down, down, forward. And if you check this motion after the forward, there's no more neutrals. They're never happening. But if you map up and down to be neutral, well, there's a world where you can do some weird motion where you hit up to force a neutral in there. So I'm going to see if I can discover that later. I don't know how viable it'll be. But it's really cool that people are experimenting with new ways to do SRKs and SOCDs in general. But that said, I'm going to show you the C.Viper gimmick and what's going on. Okay, so we booted up Marvel, and this is where I like to showcase how good this SOCD SRK is. You saw that it's really good and consistent in Street Fighter 6, but you can do this in other games because it's a true SOCD SRK. There's not using any leniencies. So unless there's something weird like Tekken, it's not going to prevent you from adding to it. So here we have C.Viper, and C.Viper has a really interesting SRK motion. So if we pull out Ryu, I just want to show you, yep, that SRK is there, and this is how I do them. But C.Viper has something special with hers. If you do that, and you hold jump, you will cancel that. And I'm going to try to do it the clunky normal way that some people do. And yeah, she is canceling. She is actually buffering a jump, and before you jump, you're doing another one, and it keeps you grounded. I don't think that's a very fast motion, though. I think in a tournament, let's see, like, I'm going to mess this up. Yeah, this is not going to be my neutral. So how do I do it with the new technique? Well, it's similar to Brian F's actually. And what it is we do the same motion. And just like Brian F, we hit that. And put them together, and you get this. And you can see it's really consistent and fast. In fact, it is so fast, one of the biggest issues I have with it is sometimes I will buffer it before it can actually do the next move, and I will interrupt it. So you have to find a certain rhythm to make sure it keeps coming out. But yeah, I can hold full conversations like this. It works on both sides. It's actually really easy on the player 2 side for me. And that's certainly an improvement over this lift technique that's being shown with SOCD SRKs. So yeah, if you're a Crimson Viper player in Marvel, here's the holy grail of zoning that no one told you about. But I hope this kind of showcases a really cool alternative way on top of the new cool alternative way. And yeah, hopefully I'll be back with another video on Marissa soon if there's not a patch in the next month or two. There might be, so I don't know. But yeah, thanks for checking this out.